Welcome to Health 2660. Here, we don't just talk about health, we tell the stories that heal. Now, please listen to the story. My muscle building comeback. The mirror reflected a stranger. Not in the lines etched around my eyes, those I had earned, each one a testament to laughter, worry, and the sheer force of living. No, this stranger was reflected in the diminishing contours of my shoulders. The unsettling looseness of skin where muscle once proudly resided, the way my clothes seemed to hang on me rather than fit. It was a slow, insidious creep, this erosion of my physical self, a silent thief stealing my strength and vitality. I, Ethan Hayes, former college athlete, weekend warrior, and avid hiker, was losing my muscles. I was disappearing. At first, I dismissed it as the inevitable consequence of aging. I was, after all, pushing past 60. I'd write about sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle mass and strength. It was a grim prognosis, a one-way ticket to frailty and dependence. But the more I researched, the more a cold dread settled in my stomach. Sarcopenia wasn't just about aesthetics. It was about function, about the ability to live independently, to enjoy life to the fullest. It was about the difference between thriving and merely surviving. My doctor, a kindly woman named Dr. Ramirez, confirmed my fears. "It's natural, Ethan," she said, her voice gentle but firm. "But it's not a life sentence. We can slow it down, even reverse some of the loss." Her words offered a sliver of hope in the face of my growing despair. She recommended physical therapy, a balanced diet with increased protein and regular exercise. It sounded simple enough, but the reality was far more challenging. The physical therapy sessions were grueling. The exercises, designed to rebuild my atrophied muscles, felt like torture. Each lift, each squat, each agonizing rep was a reminder of my former strength, now a distant memory. My body screamed in protest, muscles I hadn't used in years awakening with a vengeance. I pushed through the pain, fueled by a desperate desire to reclaim what was being taken from me. The dietary changes were equally difficult. I had always been a creature of habit, content with my routine of simple meals and occasional indulgences. Now, I had to meticulously track my protein intake, ensuring I was consuming enough to fuel muscle growth. I traded my beloved pastries for lean meats, my sugary cereals for Greek yogurt and berries. It was a constant battle against my cravings. A daily exercise in willpower. Exercise, once a source of joy and exhilaration, now felt like a chore. My hiking boots gathered dust in the closet, replaced by sessions on the treadmill and weight machines. I missed the crisp mountain air, the panoramic views, the feeling of my body moving effortlessly through nature, but I knew I had to persevere. I had to fight back against this encroaching weakness. My muscle-building comeback. Weeks turned into months, and the progress was agonizingly slow. I saw slight improvements in the mirror, a hint of definition returning to my arms and legs. But the fatigue lingered, the pain persisted, and the doubt gnawed at me. Was it worth it? Was I just delaying the inevitable? One particularly discouraging day, after a particularly brutal physical therapy session, I found myself slumped on a park bench, overwhelmed by exhaustion and despair. An elderly woman, her face lined with wisdom and her eyes sparkling with life, sat down beside me. "You look like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders," she said, her voice surprisingly strong. I hesitated, then poured out my story, my fears, my frustrations. I told her about my muscle loss, my struggles with physical therapy, my dietary challenges, and my growing sense of hopelessness. She listened patiently, her gaze unwavering. When I finished, she smiled gently. "You're fighting a good fight, young man," she said. "But you're focusing too much on the outcome and not enough on the journey." Her words struck a chord within me. I had been so fixated on regaining my former strength that I had forgotten to appreciate the small victories along the way. I had been so focused on the destination that I had failed to enjoy the process. Health isn't just about the body, she continued. It's about the mind, the spirit, the connection to something larger than yourself. Find joy in the movement, nourish your soul, and remember that every step you take, no matter how small, is a victory. Her words were a revelation. I realized that I had been approaching my health journey as a punishment, a grim obligation. I had been so focused on what I was losing that I had failed to appreciate what I still had. I had forgotten the simple joy of movement, the nourishing power of healthy food, the healing balm of connection. I thanked the woman, feeling a renewed sense of hope and determination. As I walked home, I made a conscious effort to shift my perspective. I resolved to find joy in the process, to celebrate the small victories, and to embrace the journey with gratitude and acceptance. The next day, I approached my physical therapy session with a different attitude. Instead of dreading the exercises, I focused on the feeling of my muscles working, the sensation of strength returning to my limbs. I celebrated each rep, each small improvement, each moment of progress. I started experimenting with new recipes, discovering the delicious flavors of healthy food. I found joy in cooking, in nourishing my body with wholesome ingredients. I even started gardening, growing my own vegetables and herbs. And I returned to hiking. Not the strenuous mountain climbs of my youth, but gentle strolls through the woods, breathing in the fresh air and soaking up the beauty of nature. I rediscovered the joy of movement, the freedom of exploration, the peace of connection. Slowly but surely, my body began to respond. My muscles grew stronger, my energy levels increased, and my clothes started to fit better. But more importantly, my mind and spirit began to heal. I felt a renewed sense of vitality, a deeper connection to myself, and a profound appreciation for life. One day, I decided to try a hike I hadn't attempted in years, a challenging climb to a panoramic vista overlooking the valley. As I ascended the trail, I felt the familiar burn in my muscles, the surge of adrenaline, the exhilaration of pushing my limits. I reached the summit, breathless but triumphant. As I gazed out at the breathtaking view, I realized that I hadn't just regained my physical strength. I had rediscovered my inner strength, my resilience, my ability to overcome adversity. I had learned that health isn't just about the absence of disease. It's about the presence of vitality, the joy of living, the power of connection. My journey wasn't over, of course. I still faced challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But I now had the tools, the knowledge, and the mindset to navigate them with grace and determination. I had learned that health is a lifelong journey, not a destination, and that every step along the way is an opportunity for growth, healing, and transformation. The elderly woman in the park was right. The journey was the point, not some distant, unattainable outcome. I was no longer disappearing. I was reappearing, stronger, wiser, and more alive than ever before. The real turning point, beyond the exercise and diet, came when I stumbled upon an article detailing the crucial role of a specific amino acid in protein synthesis, leucine. It wasn't enough to just eat protein. My body, with its aging processes, needed a higher concentration of leucine to effectively utilize that protein for muscle repair and growth. This wasn't something Dr. Ramirez had explicitly mentioned or the physical therapist emphasized. It was a subtle but profound detail that unlocked the next level of my recovery. I began researching leucine-rich foods, grass-fed beef, free-range chicken, wild-caught salmon, and certain types of beans and lentils. I adjusted my diet again meticulously, ensuring I was getting not just adequate protein, but also a sufficient quantity of leucine with each meal. The impact was noticeable within weeks. The muscle soreness after physical therapy lessened, and I began to see tangible improvements in my strength and endurance. But the discovery of leucine wasn't the only piece of the puzzle. I also learned about the importance of sleep. Not just any sleep, but deep, restorative sleep. As we age, our sleep cycles change, and we often experience less deep sleep, which is crucial for hormone production and muscle recovery. I started implementing a strict sleep hygiene routine, a dark, quiet, cool bedroom, no screen time before bed, and a consistent sleep schedule. I also explored natural sleep aids like magnesium and melatonin under the guidance of a holistic health practitioner. The combination of improved nutrition, targeted leucine intake, and enhanced sleep quality created a synergistic effect, accelerating my muscle recovery and overall well-being. Furthermore, I discovered the power of mindfulness and stress reduction. Chronic stress can elevate cortisol levels, which can break down muscle tissue. I started practicing daily meditation, even just for 10 to 15 minutes, focusing on my breath and letting go of anxious thoughts. I also incorporated gentle yoga into my routine, which helped to reduce stress, improve flexibility, and enhance body awareness. These practices not only benefited my physical health, but also improved my mental and emotional well-being. My journey became a holistic one, encompassing not just the physical aspects of health, but also the mental, emotional, and spiritual dimensions. I realized that true health is not just the absence of disease, but the presence of wholeness, a state of optimal well-being that encompasses all aspects of our being. As I continued to progress, I felt a growing desire to share my story with others. I started a blog, documenting my journey and sharing the tips and insights I had gained along the way. I was surprised and gratified by the response. People from all walks of life, facing their own health challenges, reached out to me for support and guidance. I realized that my experience had the power to inspire and empower others to take control of their health and well-being. I became a passionate advocate for healthy aging, spreading the message that it's never too late to reclaim your health and vitality. I volunteered at a senior center, leading exercise classes and giving nutrition workshops. I became a certified health coach, helping individuals develop personalized plans to achieve their health goals. My muscle loss, once a source of despair, had become a catalyst for transformation, not just for myself but for countless others. I had discovered that even in the face of adversity, we have the power to choose our response, to find meaning and purpose in our challenges, and to create a life of health, vitality, and fulfillment. The stranger I saw in the mirror was no longer a fading version of my former self, but a stronger, wiser, and more compassionate version, a testament to the power of the human spirit to heal, adapt, and thrive, even in the face of aging. The simple fix wasn't just about protein or exercise. It was about a fundamental shift in mindset, a commitment to holistic well-being, and a dedication to sharing that knowledge with the world. My muscles didn't just reappear. They symbolized my rebirth. Health 2660 thanks you for listening. We'll see you in the next video, and until then, be kind to yourself.